All Hallows Eve, aka Halloween, is celebrated every year on October. It's the time when the veil between the living and the dead is at its thinnest. And so it's a night when ghosts and other supernatural creatures can interact with the human world. One of these terrifying entities that has become synonymous with Halloween is the Headless Horseman. This figure can be found in various forms throughout different cultures' mythologies, often carrying his severed head under his arm. Sometimes he brings bad news, sometimes he's a harbinger of death, and sometimes he simply terrifies us for fun. Hello, everyone. Today, we will look into the history and meaning behind this mythical creature and find out whether the Headless Horseman is just a figment of our imagination or based on real events. You be the judge of that. Before we begin, please subscribe if you haven't already and press the bell icon to get notified whenever a new video is uploaded. Chapter 1. Origins of the Legend. The origins of the Headless Horseman can be traced back to Celtic mythology. There was a large horned god called Cernunnos. He was typically depicted holding a torch or an axe and always had the deer by his side. He symbolized nature, the cycle of seasons, and the underworld. One day, Cernunnos went hunting. He left his head behind and gave it to his servant, who was instructed to take it to the highest hilltop and sacrifice it to the gods. However, the servant became overwhelmed with the head's power and instead placed it atop a nearby stone. When Cerberus returned and saw that his head was not in the correct location, he cursed the servant and transformed him into a stag. This tale symbolizes the triumph of the spiritual over the material, but also foreshadows the Headless Horseman's desire to reclaim his lost head. In Irish folklore, you would find the Dullahan, a demonic rider who carried his own head. The Dullahan's head would glow red hot, and he rode on a grisly black horse. The Dullahan was said to appear before a house where someone was about to die. The first person to see the apparition would also meet an early grave. Sometimes the Dullahan would warn the family of the impending death by calling out a name before moving on to claim another victim. In Germany, there are similar tales of ghostly knights who ride forth on moonlit nights, searching for the heads that were taken from their bodies during battle. These stories were commonly used to scare children into good behavior. It was believed that if they misbehaved, they might just end up as headless knights themselves, forever doomed to wander the earth. However, the version most people are familiar with today comes from Washington Irving's The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, written in 1820. It tells the story of Ichabod Crane, a lanky school teacher who becomes enamored with the legendary Headless Horseman. On his way home from a party, he hears the clatter of hooves and turns around to see a riderless horse charging towards him. To escape, he hides in a hollow log, but when he emerges, he finds that his pumpkin lantern has vanished. Suddenly, he hears footsteps approaching and sees the dim outline of a man without a head. With that, Ichabod turned tail and ran, never to be seen again. Chapter 2. Historical Inspirations. Historians believe that these legends served as a reflection of the trauma experienced during the American Revolutionary War. Many soldiers, particularly those of Hessian descent, were killed and decapitated in battle. This created a climate of fear and uncertainty, making it easy for stories of the Headless Horseman to spread and take root in people's minds. Irving's story is set against the backdrop of the Revolutionary War, and the character of the Headless Horseman is believed to have been inspired by a Hessian soldier named Major John Andre. Major Andre was caught spying for the British and was executed by American forces in 1780. He was given a choice of how he wanted to be killed, but he chose to be beheaded. After his execution, rumors began circulating that his body had been stolen by angry townspeople and that it could be seen riding around at night. Over time, these stories grew and evolved into the legend of the Headless Horseman. Further evidence of this theory can be found in old graveyards where you lines come across tombstones with skulls and crossbones carved on them. Some of these graves are of soldiers who died in battle, while others belong to those who were killed during peacetime. But the skull and crossbones motif is a reminder of the fragility of life and the inevitability of death. Chapter 3. psychological symbolism. Sigmund Freud believed that dreams were the window to the subconscious mind and that symbols were a way to express repressed desires and unresolved conflicts. The idea of the Headless Horseman can be seen as a symbol of repressed emotions and hidden aspects of ourselves that we try to ignore or deny. The Headless Horseman is a symbol of chaos and destruction. By removing the head, which is the seat of thought and rationality, we are left with primal instincts and base desires that run wild. This can represent the dark side of human nature that we keep in check with societal norms and personal morals. But when those barriers are broken down, chaos ensues. Another interpretation is that the Headless Horseman represents a loss of identity. When the head is cut off, it symbolizes a severance of the connection between the individual and their sense of self. This can be seen in cases of trauma or abuse where a person is stripped of their identity and made to feel like an object or a pawn in someone else's game. The Headless Horseman can also be viewed as a symbol of guilt and punishment. When the head is removed, it symbolizes a separation from the body, which represents a disconnection from the physical world and an isolation that can lead to madness. This can be seen in cases where a person is haunted by their past actions and feels the weight of their mistakes bearing down on them. Chapter 4: The Legend in Pop Culture. Throughout history, the legend of the Headless Horseman has continued to capture the public's imagination. It has been adapted and reinterpreted in countless works of art, literature, film, television, and video games. In 1999, Tim Burton released a film adaptation of Washington Irving's classic story, The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. Set in the town of Sleepy Hollow, New York, the film stars Johnny Depp as Ichabod Crane, a constable who investigates a series of gruesome murders committed by a mysterious figure known as the Headless Horseman. As Ichabod delves deeper into the mystery, he uncovers dark secrets about the town's history and confronts his own fears and demons. The Legend of Sleepy Hollow has also made appearances in animated series such as The Simpsons and Gravity Falls, and video games such as Assassin's Creed, Valhalla, and Destiny. The character is often depicted as a fearsome warrior clad in black armor with a glowing red head. Players must battle the Headless Horseman using special weapons such as holy water or silvered bullets to defeat him. In addition to its popularity in fiction, the Headless Horseman is also a common figure in Halloween celebrations. Children dress up as the Headless Horseman when trick-or-treating, and the character is often featured in haunted house attractions and hay rides. Conclusion: the Headless Horseman continues to fascinate and terrify us even today. Whether he is a demon, a ghost, or the restless spirit of a forgotten soldier, the legend serves as a reminder of the darkness that lies beneath the surface of our world. As we celebrate Halloween and other spooky occasions, let us remember the Headless Horseman and the lessons he has to teach us. Let us be aware of the dangers of repressed emotions and the importance of confronting our fears head-on. Let us also remember to honor those who have passed on and to ensure that their stories are kept alive so that future generations can learn from them. So the question remains, is the Headless Horseman just a story, or is there something more to this terrifying legend? We leave that for you to decide. Did you enjoy the video? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of our videos. Thanks for watching.